Morning, everyone. Let us begin our service now with a prelude for ingathering. Everyone will be muted, as Kelly has done, as we listen to our ingathering music offered this morning by James Smith. I invite you to use the chat box to let us know where you are zooming from and what refreshes you. That was beautiful. Thank you, James. And again, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our community worship with the UU Congregation of Charlottesville. I'm Greg Townsend, your worship leader today. Once again, we are practicing our skills at sharing worship from different platforms, including many of you in the sanctuaries of your homes, while some others are in the Rugby Road Sanctuary. I am so glad to welcome all of you, wherever you are, as we join together in our widening virtual sanctuary. Our physical sanctuary was built in 1950 on hilltop land acquired by the church after World War II. For centuries before us, this land has been the dwelling place of the Monacan people. Later, this land was part of plantations of the Norris family and then Rugby, who each enslaved African Americans for labor and profit. We honor all those who dwelt here before and all those whose lives led to this moment of our gathering as a community of memory and hope. To offer a welcome, Board Secretary Beth Jager Landis is in our Rugby Road Sanctuary.
Ooh, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am Beth Jager Landis, and I am the secretary of our Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville, and I've been a member of this church since about 1993. The way I remember that is because I got married here in 1993, and I signed the book before I got married. I just wanted to welcome you, welcome the brand new people that are Zooming in, and welcome those who have been members for longer than I have been. I also welcome those who may not feel like the UU Congregation of Charlottesville is their home yet. And I welcome you to join a covenant group, come to a Tuesday lunch conversation, come to our grounds and help make our gardens grow. I'm very excited for the future of our congregation. The board is having their retreat on August 22nd, and we'll be setting goals for our developmental ministry. And we're going to start the discussion of our greater mission as a congregation. So I'm very excited about that. And I just want to extend my welcome again. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Today, our service features James Smith offering music from the Rugby Road Sanctuary, Reverend Leah joining us from Ohio, Reverend Linda preaching here in Charlottesville, and Dawn Dirks from her new home in Oregon. They are all over the place. We are grateful for the tech wizardry of Sean Scally and Kelly Dryden and the video artistry of Ellie Ransom. Friends, a word about the future. First, we hope everyone will remember to save water from your summer play to be able to offer at our Water Communion New Church Year Startup, September 12th. At this moment, we do not know when we can yet be all together in person this fall. We are watching closely the number of COVID cases on the rise in our nation and in our region. We want to take care of each other, and so we are learning to live with uncertainty. Our plans for a full reopening this fall at UUCville are tentative, awaiting the time when we can be sure it is safe to gather us all in person. We will keep our status updates on the Charlottesville webpage. In the meanwhile, we encourage everyone to stay connected and stay safe. If you are interested in helping us be ready for whenever we once again are together, let Sean know if you want to help with Sunday morning mics and cameras. We are all on many journeys in our own lives, in the life of the congregation, and in the unfolding nature of this COVID time. As we worship together today, let us give each other encouragement. We will get there on our journeys of life.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know it is, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy, and the heart will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know it is, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah,
We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. We invite you to do these hand motions along with us. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the Church of the Open Minds. This is the Church of the Helping Hands. This is the Church of the Loving Hearts. The Rugby Road Sanctuary Chalice is lit. If you have a chalice in the sanctuary of your home, light it now, and we will let all our lights shine.
After all the sun and rain, after all the joy We find ourselves here in this place of time and space. We light the chalice of our hopes. We find the words that mean the most, honoring the one and all, caring for both great and small. We find ourselves here in this place of time and space. We sing of universal love. We sing the unity of grace. We're of the earth below, of stars above. We're on a journey, traveling through this time and space. Sometimes alone, sometimes with friends, we travel on roads without end. Now gathering, for here we're blessed, find the strength to make the quest. We're on a journey, traveling through this time and space. So we light the chalice of our hopes. We find the words that mean the most, honoring the one and all, caring for both great and small. We find ourselves here in this place of time and space. We find ourselves here in this place of time and space.
Oh, that's such a beautiful song. Thank you so much to Reverend Linda for creating that and for sharing it with all of us. Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be sharing this morning's service with James and Greg and Dawn and Reverend Linda and all of you. As I shared in the chat today, I'm zooming in for our worship from Canton, Ohio, where I am visiting my in-laws. And it is great to be with you across the miles through the gift of Zoom technology and our multi-platform worship. Our worship today is focusing on sharing, and I want to take a few minutes to explore together the power of shared journeys. What I mean are all kinds of journeys, especially the journey that we call life, and how we each share our life journeys with others. But first, let me introduce you or reintroduce you to one of my favorite poets. You'll understand why in a minute. Her name is Naomi Shihab Nye. And like me, she spent a lot of her life living in Texas. Her father was a Palestinian refugee and her mother an American of German and Swiss descent. When Naomi was a teenager, she spent time living in both Jerusalem and San Antonio, Texas. And like all of us, her lived experiences, family, and ethnicity have had a lot of influence on her life. She currently lives in San Antonio and has written many poems and books and has won lots and lots of awards. In fact, she is the Poetry Foundation's Young People's Poet Laureate. I want to share one of her poems with you entitled, My Grandmother in the Stars. As you listen, you might want to close your eyes and let yourself savor the words. My grandmother in the stars. It is possible we will not meet again on earth. To think this fills my throat with dust. Then there is only the sky tying the universe together. Just now, the neighbor's horse must be standing patiently, hoof on stone, waiting for this day to open. What you think of him and the village's one heroic cow is the knowledge I wish to gather. I bow to your rugged feet, the moth-eaten scarves that knot your hair. Where we live in the world is never one place. Where we live in the world is never one place. Our hearts, those dogged mirrors, keep flashing us moons before we are ready for them. You and I on a roof at sunset, our two languages adrift, heart saying, take this home with you, never again. And only memory making us rich. For me, this poem beautifully reflects how our shared journeys are a mix of comings and goings, of times when we move through life sharing the day-to-day experience of life together, and also times when our journeys aren't side by side. Togetherness and apartness. Our journeys are full of hellos and goodbyes, joys and sorrows. As the summer moves toward fall, we notice the cycle of the seasons, the turning of the year, and the passing of time. Our children return to school. Some of our young adults head to college or on to other adventures. And new people and families join our congregation, and we welcome them with joy. We also acknowledge that there are people in our beloved community who have died. We miss sharing our lives with them, and we grieve their passing. Their absence leaves a hole. They are gone from us too soon. There are also those in our congregation who have moved away to new places and communities. Their life journey calls them on. We wish them all the best and much happiness in their new homes. This morning, our congregation is saying goodbye to a family who is moving away that has been integrally involved in our congregation for many years. The Gills, Margot, Jeremy, Bryce, Ollie, Parker, Sonny, and forever Logan. I want to say particularly to the Gills and to all the other beloveds who have moved to new places, how much you and your presence in our congregation has meant to me personally and to us as a community. We are grateful for your gifts of friendship, leadership, trust, and connection. We will miss you more than we can say, and we wish you Godspeed. Remember, you always have a place and a home here with us, no matter where your life journey takes you. We will continue to share the same sky, tying the universe together. As Naomi Shihab Nye reminds us, where we live in the world is never one place, and our memories make us rich. May your memories of your time here, the sharing together of life's great joys and its deepest sorrows, and of all the people who love and cherish you, sustain you always. I carry you with me in my heart. Amen, and blessed be.
Thank you, Leah, for those wonderful words. I really have to echo what she said, because in so many ways it touched our chapter right now. It is with great joy that we go to our new homes in Maryland, and But then, of course, like most things, there's the yin yang of the sorrow of leaving so many people who have kept us in their hearts and really cradled us for the last decade. And that's what I would encourage for the congregation, is that you never know what the next chapter is going to be. We try and do our best, and we make the best choices we can. But this institution, this community, this church has been a stalwart, strong, supporting cradle for us, no matter what the chapter was. And so I'm not at all surprised that there's so much that's speaking to me today, because that's been the method that you have all approached me with all along. So we have to hold fast. We have to hold fast digitally and virtually right now. But thank you. Thank you for our family. Thank you for creating a home for my children and for Margot and I. And it has been so meaningful every step of the way, and words can barely express it.
Thank you.
We give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Part of the way we turn our prayers into actions is by how we give of ourselves, our time, our talent, our money, our support to a hurting world. During the month of August, our congregation is inviting you to give to our social action collection for the RISE organization, a local nonprofit that tutors and supports children.
We started RISE about 4 years ago. We had was going to start an NAACP branch, and we were not approved for charter. And so instead of losing the momentum and all the work that we had put in to start that branch, we started our own social justice organization.
I didn't sleep, and I woke up, well, I would say I woke up, my eyes opened up, and the word RISE came in my mind.
Our goal was to give voice and hope back to the Black community. That's our mission.
The headquarters came about a year, almost 2 years after. This space was really in bad condition. And so I knew that if I showed her, we were not going to agree on it. So I was like, well, just trust me.
We can create whatever we want to and change adults and work with adults and train them all we want to. But if we don't change the school system, we will continue to produce children that become adults that perpetuate racism.
They're really why we do what we do. It's trying our very best to change things for the next generation.
We know very well that the libraries that we have in our cities, in our school systems, do not have books written by us about us. Children are excited to come in here and walk into the library, and every single book is about them. They come in and turn in circles because they just don't know which book to pick. They just have so many books to pick. So so it's so exciting to see that. We don't just want Black children to come in here and get these books. We want white children and Hispanic children, and we want all children to come in here and get these books and find out our story. We have the after school program that was a spinoff from the summer reading and writing camp. And so we follow our children through the school year.
We allow them to get comfortable in the space, and then to figure out where they are as far as academically. It may be that they're strong in math, but not so much in reading. And so once we figure out what those areas are, we do our best to meet them where they are. Oftentimes what we find is the challenge is lacking confidence. That's the big part, is just building confidence and getting them to feel comfortable and safe to do it. And then once we're able to do that, it's about building critical thinking and comprehension. To me, when they go in there, I know that they can feel safe and excited and, you know, the love in that space.
It embodies who we are to give voice and hope back to the Black community.
I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about that organization. To make a donation to RISE, you can text your donation amount to the number you see there, 434-277-2266, or go to the giving page of our website. You can also use the donation page of your Breeze account and choose the Social Action Collection Fund. Finally, you can send a check made out to UU Seville to our main office. Each week, we invite and are grateful for the financial gifts you make to sustain the ministry of this congregation. We give thanks for all that you love, and we encourage you to be generous in putting your love into action with your gifts. Please join me in dedicating the offering now, saying these words: we accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good.
It is so good to be with those of you on Zoom with us and those who have come into the sanctuary today. It's a powerful day with so many people coming and going, journeys of life. 4 years ago on this weekend, I got into my car in the pre-dawn hours and I drove through the summer morning mists as the sun was slowly rising. I drove from George Washington's neighborhood in Northern Virginia to the town of Thomas Jefferson in the hills surrounding here. I had only a vague idea where I was going. I had no real idea of what was going to happen, but I did know why I was going on that trip. I was going to be with interfaith colleagues because they asked me to be there with them to counter the presence of the hate-filled Unite the Right folks who were invading your city. And I'm so glad I made that journey. Tomorrow, August 16th, I'm going to be joining some of the organizers of that event. We're going to visit the sites of the counter-protests and the violence, the place where Heather Heyer was killed. The place is now empty of the statues extolling racism. We will offer prayers and reflect with one another. This will not be a big thing. We've not publicized it. But when I heard that Reverend Elaine Thomas was traveling from New Jersey to make this visit, I knew I needed to be with her. 4 years ago, she was a priest at St. Paul's Episcopal and was one of the leaders of the interfaith response. I, 4 years ago, was in Northern Virginia. And since then, she went on to a parish in New Jersey, and I've come to Charlottesville to be here with you as an interim. So our paths, our journeys keep crisscrossing, but it felt important for some reason for me this year to reconnect with her. Because in my mind, with all the comings and goings of so many people and with all the events of the world in these past 4 years, it helps me to share moments with fellow sojourners any time that our paths do intersect. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within. That song that we sang at the beginning of our service this morning, Wo Ya Ya, that song was written by a Ghanaian drummer, and it was sung in work camps in Central West Africa. And then it was brought to the West by a Ghanaian band and popularized by performers like Art Garfunkel and Sweet Honey in the Rock. It became really popular in Unitarian Universalist youth movements. And then it was added to the UUA's songbook, Singing the Journey. I acknowledge the privilege that we in the US have had to learn this song from another culture and to be inspired by its many layers of meaning. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wo ya ya, wo ya ya. I don't know about you, but right now it's hard to know where we are going. COVID is surging back into our lives, even as schools are reopening, and we're not sure where, when, or how it will ever be safe for this congregation to resume fully in-person life. It's hard to know. The International Climate Change Report that came out last week is a clear red alert alarm flashing in our faces. We are out of time. We have ruined the world's climate, and it's going to take centuries to turn it around if and only if we start making changes now. It's hard to know what's going to happen. 6 months into a more sane United States administration, it is still unclear if democracy can survive the attacks on access to voting, and if we can turn back the widening gaps between the haves and the have-nots, if we can redeem our nation from its white supremacy wounds. It's hard to know. And 20 years after 9/11, Afghanistan is being retaken, even as we sit here this day, retaken by the Taliban, who we've been there for 20 years trying to hold back. It's a hard time, and the road is muddy and rough. And I want you to think about this. The song says, we are going. We, not I am going, and not you are going, but we are going. Heaven knows where, but we are on this journey. And it's in the we that we can find a way to get there, wherever the there is. We share the journey. Even as our lives move us on different paths, sometimes apart. And luckily, to the Gill family moving north, we have internet, we'll be able to stay in touch, but sometimes we move apart and sometimes we come back together. Like Reverend Thomas and I reconnecting tomorrow. But whatever's going on, we are sharing this journey. My summer series of sermons was holding to the larger theme of play. And it's hard to maybe spot where the play is in here, but I have suggested that our difficult journeys that we share with each other, it's so important to have a spiritual practice, one that gives you joy, one that is easy and fun, one that helps you breathe so that you can get through these hard times. That's the play I'm talking about, a spiritual practice, not to forget the hard times, but to keep yourself alive and breathing and joyful. I spoke of swimming in one service, and I spoke of singing in another service. And today I focus on sharing as a way to bring joy and life and breathing, and yes, even hope into this journey of life, which is so difficult and confusing. Sharing, spending time with others, listening to others' stories, practicing and playing with others, creating beauty and meeting with others. Last week, Reverend Alex spoke of the importance of making community not a thing, but rather something that we practice together, a practice. And she suggested that this could be our salvation. You know, this is really very ancient wisdom. And it's also the basics of what we try to help children learn early on. The writer Robert Fulghum, who is also a Unitarian Universalist minister, he wrote a book which made him famous. He wrote, "All I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten." And he said, wisdom is not at the top of the graduate school mountain, but there in the sand pile at Sunday school. Here's some of the wisdom. He has a long list, but here's some of it. Share everything, play fair, say you're sorry when you hurt someone, and when you go out into the world, watch out for the traffic, hold hands, and stick together. It's what we teach our 5-year-olds, and it's what we need to remind each other of. Going out into this world, let's hold hands and stick together. I invite you all to play with this idea of sharing. Play with the notion that everything that you love to do can be more fun and more sustainable when you share it with others. I know I have learned to love creating things with people, working together on community art projects where everybody brings their idea and energy together so that together we make more beauty than even one of us alone could do. You know, quilters know this, people who... But you know what else I've discovered? Like what I'm going to do tomorrow, getting together with others, sharing hard times with others, going to the painful places, the places of meaning and loss and love. Doing this with others reminds me that sharing what is in my heart and soul and encouraging others to share what's in their heart and soul, that can help us all reconnect to the gift of this life. Don't just keep it inside of yourself. Share it with others. And you'll be reminded that we are in life together, in joy and sorrow, and we will keep on keeping on in this muddy, hard journey we're sharing. In olden days, people would meet and talk at the community well or watering hole. This congregation can be like a well for all of us, a place either on Zoom or in person to meet and share. Share your joys and sorrows, share your learning and laughter, share your inspiration and spiritual deepening. Many have found that the sharing is done most powerfully in small groups, maybe circles of 8 or 10 people, people who commit to meet with each other once or twice a month. These small groups have been called covenant groups or soul matters groups or other names. They're not therapy, but they can be therapeutic. They're not teaching you anything, but you may learn a lot from being in them. They are groups that let you share your life, share your journey with others. And together, all in the group will discover more about where we might be going and how we might get there together. In the next few weeks, the Covenant Group Steering Committee will be posting the names of the facilitators of some new small groups that are forming in this congregation. They'll be starting in October. And also some existing small groups which are continuing and have openings for new members. I want all of you to look for these invitations when they come up on the website or in your e-newsletter and sign up or touch base with me and find out more about them. And if you'd like to be a facilitator of a new small group, just let me know. We do offer training for facilitators, so don't be shy. I really encourage people to join in. Don't do what so many of us tend to do, which is to try to go it alone or tough it out or isolate yourselves when you're feeling anxious or confused. Resist that urge. Accept the invitation to come to the well and share in this time. My friends, humanity has always been on hard and muddy roads. Our world once again struggles against all that has and continues to threaten us. In just the last 100 years, we've had genocides and holocausts and wars, natural disasters and airplanes flying into buildings and Indian children taken from their families, lynching and mass shootings and dropping atomic weapons, and US citizens violently storming our nation capital to stop the democratic process. And in those 100 years, we've destroyed our climate with our burning ways. It's a hard and muddy time, and it's hard to have hope. But you know what I've been thinking? I think that the way forward is not to try to have hope. The way forward is to stick together, to hold hands, to make this journey knowing who we are, and to resolve to be the ones who will do the work and then who will keep the seeds of change alive. If we know we are the ones and the company we keep and the community we practice, we are the ones who will lead the way to the wells where we in our larger world can find water, can find love, and yes, maybe find hope then after we've done all that work to be together. We are the ones that can find the assurance that we will thrive on our hard journey in these incredible times. May it be so. I trust it. I have faith in it. Amen. Welcome back, Zoom people. Where were you all? There's about 25 of us in the sanctuary, and there's many more of you in the Zoom land there at your sanctuaries and your home. Remember, we're in this together. We journey forward. I hope many of you will stay and talk online in the chat room, in the breakout room after the service. The people in the sanctuary will be invited following the beautiful postlude to go to the social hall where we can get your feedback on what it's like to be in the sanctuary again with our mixture of technologies. And before we extinguish the chalice, I want to remind each of you that you do carry a flame within your hearts. It's the flame of your life and your love and all the connections you've ever made and all the journeys you've ever made. Keep those flames alive because we need your light. We need your light to shine, whether you're here, whether you're someplace else. Remember, it makes a difference to each of us, that each of you is a part of the we. I extinguish our chalice now, but not the flame in our hearts. Amen.